Konnichiwa, y'all, and welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. Make sure to subscribe and join that Maple Mafia today. We're putting out 7 days a week of maple-related content. I'm Matt, and that's my brother Tim.
And guys, we're MrMaple.com, that family mail order business. We ship directly to your door. Today, we've got an amazing group of trees we're talking about. We're talking about those trees, those Japanese maples that are underrated. Trees that you may have not seen a specimen of, and once you see a specimen of it, you're like, man, I've got to have one of those in my yard.
These underrated trees are going to change your opinion on these cultivars when you see a specimen like this. Guys, first up and out the gate is my friend here. This is Acer palmatum Livy. Now, look at this thing. When you see a Livy this size, you start to understand why Livy was selected. Absolutely impeccable cultivar, a large leaf form, a little more upright, a little more narrow. I almost think of this as a larger, darker growing Rhode Island Red, because you see that density here, guys. It's got all that density that you love about something like Rhode Island Red. A little bit larger growing, a little bit darker overall foliage as well. And when you see a tree like this, it could change your opinion on the overall cultivar. I mean, I think this cultivar is underrated for what it can provide in its characteristics.
I know whenever I first found out about Livy was through our good friend Carl Munn, and he had this tree, and he said it originated in Canada. And he said, guys, you love Macawa, why don't you love Livy? As this tree ages, you start to get a layering type habit in there on a red, upright Japanese maple. And so you can see how dense and layering this tree is. And when you see a specimen like this, you start to think, hey, I've got a spot for that in my yard, because that's kind of looking Macawa-like with this red foliage.
Oh, it's going to change your mind, guys. When you see one like this, you realize what this cultivar can truly reach specimen-wise. We've got this here at a big 20-gallon. You know, it's an older, more mature tree, at least 15 years old. You can see what this can achieve in the landscape, and it really puts, you know, that visual into full effect on why this tree is special.
Livy, staying that dense and compact shape, typically reaching 6 to 7 foot in 10 years, with this really awesome habit, makes it an excellent container plant. And this thing's got some bright red fall color.
All right, guys, let's go check out some more underdogs. We'll see if we can change your mind on some Japanese maples that are pretty cool, but you might have thought were underrated before. All right, guys, I'm here with one of my most underrated lace leaf cultivars. We're next to Jeddoloh Orange. Sometimes say Jeddoloh. Guys, Jeddoloh Orange is exquisite. It's got great spring color. It's got great fall color. I think all around this tree is underappreciated in the nursery trade and maybe even by collectors. Give this one another look. I think that spring color is one of the very best lace leaves I've ever seen. You can get a yellowish orange eye on that dark maroon border. That fades to a little bit more of a greenish to yellow color later in the season. Guys, this is probably one of the best fall color oranges of any Japanese maple, much less a lace leaf. This does what a lot of people want Orangeola to do in the fall, that bold, bold orange. Excellent shape, excellent color. I think it should be on that Mount Rushmore for lace leaves. You should see Waterfall, Tamukiyama, and Jeddoloh Orange. I absolutely love what this one does. And for that reason alone, I think this one is completely underrated. I think you should take another look at it. Check out some of that spring color in a close-up.
One tree I think is extremely underrated is Acer palmatum Jeto. Now Jeto really brings it with this yellow to orange bark, starting a little bit lighter yellow orange down the base, getting to more of a bold orange towards the tip on the actual bark itself. That gives a great winter interest out in the landscape. It's said that Jeto means chicken foot because the guy who introduced this walked around barefoot and had feet that were kind of twisting like a chicken's foot. But this plant is a really nice upright tree. It gives you some good winter interest. Green summery field in the spring and the summer. And in the fall, this one can go some really nice shades of yellows to oranges. When you have a tree like this, give it a backdrop. Give it something that you can see with color contrast between the bark and the background. Planting in front of a red Japanese maple allows you to see it during the spring. But in the winters when you're really going to want to have that background. So give it a wall, give it an evergreen backdrop to really be able to really spark and shine out there in the landscape and garden. If you give this tree a little more sunlight too, the bark colors will be a little bit brighter and a little bit more intense with Acer palmatum Jeto. Let's go check out some other really underrated Japanese maples.
Can a Japanese maple be criminally underrated? Guys, Lima Gold is way underrated for what it does. I love this plant. Whether you call it Lima Gold or Lima Gold, I stick with Lima because I hate lima beans. Guys, Lima Gold is exquisite in its color. That chartreuse green gives you a little bit of that gold now, It's really gold in the fall color. You've heard us talk about this tree before. Introduction from Red Maple Nurseries. Completely disappeared in the trade. NJ Acer, Ed Shin has one in his garden, and they all got restarted from that tree he bought from Dick Wolf. This is such a nice compact Acer, guys. This looks great in the Macawa family because of that density to it. It also has some of the smallest leaves of any of the Macawa forms, making it excellent for bonsai. It's very heat tolerant. It's very durable. It looks perfect in a container on its own. It may be one of my favorite container Japanese maples of them all. It is so underrated. I think when you see a Lima Gold at this size, you start to see the potential of what this can do, especially in your landscape and garden. Absolutely, amazing plant. And this isn't even fall color, guys. I think it even hits another level of underrated when it puts on those shades of yellow gold. Grab you a Lima Gold. If it's not on MrMaple.com right now, you can always sign up to get notified via email when we have it back in stock. This one, I hope we've changed your mind on it because it is underrated to the max. I think it should be in everybody's top list. It's a great plant. Check out Lima Gold today.
Next up, guys, we've got a really underrated Japanese maple. And we're here at Buchholz Farm, home of the Ghost series. We're talking about one of the unofficial members of the Ghost series, Acer palmatum Ghost Dancer. And sometimes that unofficial part of the category, the fact that it wasn't part of the Ghost series, gets some people to give it some questions, some pause. But I'm telling you, Talon has adopted this and says this is an unofficial member of the Ghost series because it has everything you love about the Ghost maples. It has that creamy reticulation. We're talking about Ghost Dancer. Ghost Dancer was found and introduced by one of Talon's neighbors. Around the same time Talon was introducing First Ghost, one of his neighbors was introducing Ghost Dancer. They were thinking along the same lines because these reticulation, this creamy white kind of color you can get out of these maples gives this ghost-like eerie appearance. And this thing just sort of dances in the wind, hence it gets the name of Ghost Dancer. The thing I love about these reticulated Japanese maples is that the leaves are etching through each and every leaf. You can see the veins etching through each and every leaf. And it makes the details so prominent on this tree. It just grabs your attention. And with this one right now, we've got dark green veins, dark green edging, and creamy, green to creamy white color on the interior part of the leaf. Now, when this thing leaves out in the spring, you can even get a thick purple border around the edge of this plant. And I've gotten some crazy colors of almost pure white with that etching veins to almost blue white. I mean, just crazy colors on the veins themselves. This thing is special, and it gets about 6 to 8 foot in 10 years and goes yellows to oranges in the fall. But if you notice, it's got a strong upright habit. So this makes it a great complementary tree to many in the Ghost series. Put this tree in a shaded spot, and you're going to love what this tree can do. Give it some morning sun if you can, and you're really going to increase that purple border in the early spring. I mean, Ghost Dancer, this is a beautiful tree, and it's underrated. I hope you've enjoyed today's video on underrated trees here at Buchholz Nursery. Maybe some of these specimens gave you a second look at something you want to try out in your yard now, because these things are beautiful and underrated, and I think more people need to be growing these cultivars. Take care, God bless, and have a great day.